What's good, everybody? It's your brother Mad Black, the most dangerous and the most toxic black man on the internet, and I'm black up in your face again with some more pro-black commentary. So, I saw a very interesting news article that's been circulating around town, and it's an interview with Priscilla Presley, and she is the ex-wife of the late Elvis Presley, and basically what she's talking about and trying to clear up for people is that she claims that even though she got with Elvis when she was very young, she got with him when she was 14 years old, she claims that there was no sex, that Elvis and her weren't together for sex or whatever, or he waited until she was of age before they had sex. Now, you and I, sitting right here, we know that that is absolute 100% bullshit. Okay, we know that. All right, it's very well known about Elvis Presley that he liked teenage girls. Okay, that's basically all his fan base was when he first came out, was teenage girls. Okay, watching him dance and gyrate on stage or whatever, right? So for Priscilla Presley to come out here now and make it seem as if, Elvis Presley was this paragon of virtue and he didn't have sex with her, that's we know that's a bunch of nonsense, okay? And what she's trying to do, Priscilla is trying to protect the legacy of Elvis. This is what white females do with their white males. So even if, whatever you want to say about the crimes of a white male, his biggest accomplice is the white female, right? So they'll always work hard to protect that white male and protect his legacy, especially if his legacy, quote unquote, means something to lots of people. And no legacy means anything greater than the legacy of Elvis Presley. He's held up in very high regard by white people. Okay, even though he's just really basically poor white trash that copied off of black people's music and assimilated black people's dancing and music for himself. That's all he really did. That's the truth of it. But people still hold him in high regard, basically because he was a white boy who could do black music and was able to be successful at it, right? Just like Eminem, right? Him being white, both Elvis and Eminem, they get A's for effort and extra credit basically for being white, right? People will hold them in higher esteem for doing something that black people have been doing forever, right? So Priscilla has to protect that legacy. She wants to make sure that Elvis is still held in high regard as the king. It's bad enough that people know about his drug addiction, right? And that's what took him out of here, right? So, people saw that and knew that he was on drugs and everything, and that's basically what ended his life. But, she still wants to somewhat protect the rest of his image and doesn't want people to know that he liked young girls. And once again, anyone who was around during that time, people in his band, people within the Hollywood structure and the music business around that time, they all knew that Elvis liked young girls. I mean, that was sad to say, that was almost a thing in the music industry. A lot of these guys indulged in messing around with young girls because, once again, teenage girls were their biggest demographic. Teenage girls were the ones buying their music and coming to their concerts, right? And when I say that, I'm not excusing that type of behavior because a teenage girl obviously doesn't know her ass from a hole in the ground, right? So a teenage girl is all hormones and all emotions. She doesn't know what the hell she's doing, right? And we all saw it when we were younger. We know that teenage girls don't really think about anything. All they're doing is, going off of the hormones and the emotions or whatever. As an older woman, you know better. Usually. You're supposed to anyway. I know there's some older girls out there and older women who never learned and still think with their teenage minds, which is a sad thing. But as a teenage girl, they should they don't know any better. And as an adult male, you should know better than to take advantage of them. You should definitely not be doing that. Okay, because that's how you should get in trouble for that. But Priscilla Presley is making it seem as if Elvis didn't do anything with her when she was 14 because she doesn't want Elvis to have the same legacy as R. Kelly, because R. Kelly's legacy now is him being an abuser of young girls, right? His whole entire, people forget about his music catalog and, his songwriting abilities and what have you, and all the hits that he's had. All people can really think about is his abuse of women. And, I'm not even saying that that's wrong, because he is a scumbag. R. Kelly is absolutely a scumbag, right? And Elvis should be remembered as that as well. But once again, you have a society that wants to keep him at a certain level, and his wife or his ex-wife is participating in that. Both her and her daughter, before the daughter passed away, were heavily involved with that situation with that movie that kind of idolized Elvis. And they made sure to leave that part of it out. They left out the part of how young a lot of these girls were that Elvis was messing with, right? And they tried to elevate Elvis to almost like an idol status. They want to concentrate on the music and make it almost seem somewhat ethereal, and made it seem like black people just loved Elvis. All this nonsense. They just basically tried to rewrite history with that recent movie. And Priscilla Presley was heavily involved with that movie because she's very heavily involved with his estate. Even though they broke up before he died, she still has control of that estate, right? So she wants to make sure that the legacy of her ex-husband is something that is held, and they try to uphold him as like he's some sort of paragon of virtue, which is kind of ridiculous. You think that the truth of the matter of what Elvis was and what he is should be more of a, I'm not saying be more pleasant, but it'd be more realistic to just know the truth about certain people rather than trying to hide it from everybody, right? Because I mean, let's look at this realistically. What in the hell would an adult want with a 14-year-old anyway, right? Seriously. And she claims that she's quoted as saying that, even though she was 14, she was actually older than Elvis in her mind. Like, she tried to make it seem like she was more mature than he was, which is more bullshit. There's no 14-year-old who's more mature than an adult. All right? I've been 14. Even though I thought I knew it all, I didn't know jack shit back then. All right? When I look back on it, I didn't know a damn thing at 14. And anyone who's realistic, even if you are a mature, and I was a mature young man at 14 as a teenager, but still I did not know anything. I had not experienced life. I had not moved out of my parents' house. So what could I know at that age? And likewise with Priscilla Presley. Bitch, you didn't know anything back then. Okay? So I don't know why she's trying to make it seem now as if like she was just so mature. That's the line pedophiles get. Pedophiles tell children that, oh, you're so mature for your age. That's what they do. When they're grooming children to have sex with them. So, you got to be careful with that type of talk. And the fact that she even would bring that up and make it seem like it's okay for them to be together because she was a mature 14-year-old. There's no such thing. No such thing at all. And once again, Elvis himself should be ashamed for that. That's disgusting. The fact that you wanted to be with this 14-year-old in the first place. I'm sure you had some women your own age, dude. You were in your 20s. You could have got some 20-year-olds to be with. But it's easier to take advantage of someone who doesn't know shit. Because at 14, you don't know anything. Right? So it's easier to take advantage. And that's why I never liked those types of males who do that. Because you know good and damn well you're taking advantage of this teenager. She doesn't know anything. Right? So, I mean, and Priscilla Presley, she's just going to keep on lying and making it seem like it was okay for her to do this. And, I know she's gotten all that plastic surgery now. She looks really bad. Like, I remember how she used to look in the 80s, and she at least looked normal. But now she looks really bad with all that plastic surgery. Like her face is basically frozen in one position. She looks like a victim of the Joker or something like that. But she, her face is frozen like that. So I guess she figures since her face is frozen in that position that people can't tell if she's lying or not. But, anyone who has any type of sense or who lived back then know that she's BSing about Elvis and his attraction to 14-year-olds. All right. So you folks can let me know how you feel about it in the comments section. I very much like to hear your opinions on this. And this is Mad Black, and I will be back on my foot on the devil's back.